And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
And where is this mountain range? What's the name of it?
Well, I was first there in the 50s with Hillary in the Himalayas. Things were much tougher back then, of course. Nowadays one can't get decent Sherpas, you know.
Good evening and welcome to Is It a Bicycle, Season 9, Episode 11, the original and bestest ever TV and movie podcast. My name is Stephen Wrigley and I'll be your host for this evening. Beside me I have a man who says that running is the best way to remind himself how much he loves sitting. It's Mike McDonough. Live from Vegas, we have a man who says Home Depot is the best place to pick up hose. It's Sean Leonard. And in the red corner, it's our cuddly killer. A man who says his son is the reason he wakes up every morning, really feckin' early, every single morning. Mark, superhero Leonard. This week we'll be discussing some movies, or a movie in the shape of Everest, and some TV in the form of The Bastard Executioner and Minority Report. We'll also have some news, hopefully, and some previews. Come to a bicycle near you.
So there's this craze on the internet at the moment.
Straight in there. Good man. Yeah.
Called Facebook. And within that craze, there's another craze. At the weekend, many people changed their profile picture to that of a superhero. And then, to raise childhood cancer awareness, they thought the best way of doing that would be to have other people like their status and they would assign them a superhero. And the message about childhood cancer awareness and superheroes spread exponentially throughout the internet. Pretty harmless as these pyramid schemes tend to go, you would think. But not so. It's actually fraught with peril. I had no idea how pissed off people get when you don't give them the right superhero.
So how does this work? Like how do you get a superhero?
Well, Steve, I don't think you've ever liked one of my statuses in your life, so this would probably be very tricky for you to manage. But all you really had to do was the status that I put up on Saturday, I think it was. You liked it. And then I sent you a message saying, your superhero is the following. Change your profile picture to that and then paste this into your status, and then it carries on. Anyone that likes your status, you give them a superhero, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So the first one was a friend of mine liked my status and I gave him Captain America. Now, someone telling you that you're like Captain America is not an insult. But
depends where you're from.
He just started telling me that I was a dick. Because everybody knows he's Batman. If everybody knows he's Batman, it's not a very effective disguise. And I was actually talking to him this evening, and I started to outline. I said, look, I don't want you to think that I just said you're Captain America, like, randomly. You know, there are reasons behind my choices. So, another friend of mine, I was starting to run out of superheroes towards the end of the day. I gave them the Black Panther. Now, T'Challa, ruler of Wakanda, is quite an esteemed superhero, as everybody knows. And again, there is no real insult in telling someone that you're like the Black Panther. But he replied, and I can only guess that this was sarcasm, saying, oh yeah, the Black Panther, he's my favourite. Is he your favourite too? So in short, people, be careful what you post.
How to Make Friends and Influence People by Mark Leonard.
Yeah.
Yep. So what else have you been up to this week, Mike? Apart from getting superhero characters.
Funny, I did happen to log into Facebook that day, and I actually liked every other status on the page except for Mark's.
Damn it. I mean, all three of your friends got likes apart from me.
And two of them are cats.
Yeah. What have I been up to? I've been watching a hell of a lot of rugby.
Oh yeah, why is that?
Because the Rugby World Cup is on.
Oh right.
For the next 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It's probably Mark's favourite 6 weeks of every 4 years, I'd say.
Yeah, that's right, actually.
Because he was quite gracious, actually, when I mentioned that I was watching the rugby, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it? Fuck right off, Michael? Something like that?
Well, do you know what I spent my Saturday doing, which really wound people up? Would, if I heard them talking about sport of any kind, I would go, is there a game on? And try and be as serious as I could, and then watch the various stages of chagrin flash across their faces. Very funny.
But this was an unusual weekend because in the Rugby World Cup, it's famous for having brutal mismatches.
Yes.
Because the very top teams are just so far ahead of the minnows.
Yeah.
And this weekend, South Africa played Japan.
Yeah.
And
Japan being that really strong rugby.
That's right.
Country,
Yeah. So I wasn't even going to watch this,
Mm-hmm.
but I just stuck on the first 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
And Japan actually weren't doing too bad.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, we'll stick with this for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
And then it got to the last play of the game.
Yeah.
And Japan ran in a try to defeat the Springboks.
Yes.
Which, to put in perspective, is like Japan beating America at basketball.
Yeah.
But I think every neutral fan on the planet was screaming at the TV that day, willing them on.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
You'd never see its like again.
Never see it like again.
Yeah. Except for 2011 when Ireland beat England at cricket.
Oh.
That was
Good point,
fucking
good
hilarious
point.
that day.
Yeah, it was pretty unreal actually. And the best bit about the win, was it not that they were given a penalty and they refused it?
Yeah.
So they could go and try for the try?
Yeah,
Was
they
it,
had a
"Yeah, we
chance
got
to
this."
take a draw, and then they said, fuck it, let's roll the
go for
dice.
it. Yeah.
And it 99 times out of 100 it doesn't pan out, but
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, the odds on a Japanese win from the bookies were 70-1.
Were they?
Yeah. In a 2-horse race, that's pretty impressive.
Wow. Wow. That is impressive. So, what else have you been up to? What else have you seen? Ultimate Fighter, episode 2. Did you see that?
No, I did see some MMA stuff though.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, pretty shitty movie called Never Back Down from 2008.
Hold on just a minute, Michael.
You know this is in the top 10.
Back the hell up. Now, I don't know if you remember 2008, but I do. And that was a
I've
pretty
touched a
crappy
nerve.
year for everything except MMA movies. Never Back Down has some of the greatest lines outside of a Rocky film.
Oh, it was
For
hilarious.
example, you want the gloves, don't you? And featuring the most elaborate tap at the start of a fight in the history of tapping.
Yeah, myself and the young lad sat down and watched this, and we were there was tears of laughter. Just
really?
as we tried to predict the the plot as it was, and everything we kept on saying just happened.
Oh, really? Was there anyone of note in this movie?
No,
No,
all right, nobody.
Okay.
We will never speak of it again.
Yeah, okay. So would you give it out of 10, Mike?
Oh yeah, it's a shocker. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I don't think our numeric system is really.
Why would you give it out of 1?
Yeah, it's probably a solid one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, Mike. Hold on a minute. Like. Never Back Down is not a 1, right?
Well, it's a 1 out of 0 or 1. That's a pretty solid one.
blood-sucking, finger-banging hose is a 1. One of your favorite films, I believe.
It was quite educational, as I remember.
I got a credit on that movie,
Never
actually.
Back Down.
It's appalling, Mark. Jesus. I'd expected better from you, to be quite frank.
Nothing for Mark. Okay.
Yeah. I think I won that particular exchange.
Sean, what have you been up to this week?
To be honest, I'm actually prepping for a small role in a film that's starting shooting over here in Las Vegas.
Cool. Tell us.
There's this thing at UNLV called the Brendan Award. There may be other words involved in that, but I didn't win it, so I'm not going to learn it yet.
All right.
But the Brendan Award which is essentially a bunch of filmmakers pitch their ideas for what they want to make, and then they go through a couple of rounds of vetting until eventually a winner is chosen to receive $25,000 to do their short film.
Oh.
Or not short film, to do their feature. Usually it's a feature film.
So it's similar to the RTE thing that we looked at with FAR last year and so on.
A little bit,
Yeah.
yeah. I think I have all the details of that right, but again, as I say, the money's not going in my pocket, so I didn't really care all that much. But so the thing that won is a movie called Death to False Hipsters, which is essentially it's a parody of the hipster lifestyle, and it's also an unconventional love story as well. So I play a violinist who appears at odd intervals to provide some musical interludes and some sound tracking to try and really, like drive home the emotion of the scene.
Excellent.
So, I'm excited. That's starting. So I've just been prepping for that. I don't have any lines, so memorizing the script has become quite difficult.
Yeah. So have you been practicing playing air violin or?
Oh my, yes. Let me tell you, I have been working on it. It's tough to play an air violin angrily, but I think I've found the way.
Look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, can't wait to see this now. Yeah, very good. Okay. Do you have news this week, Sean?
Just one thing
Okay.
that I saw that was quite fun.
Let's go to the news with Sean.
It's just a quick one this week. And to be honest, I probably would have moved on and found more news if I wasn't so saddened by the state of journalism in the world after this one piece. So a lot of news is speculation, which isn't how things should be, but that's just what happens, especially when it comes to movie franchises and certain aspects of popular culture that are so huge, people will read anything about them. So a rumor came out that Anakin Skywalker, played by Hayden Christensen, will feature in some way in Star Wars Episode 8.
Oh God.
But here's the thing. They weren't even really trying to get you to believe it. It wasn't one of those things where they were going, here's why we definitely think this is going to happen. The headline for this, which I believe came from Screen Rant or Screen Crush or something else ridiculous, the headline was, very difficult to believe rumor, Hayden Christensen to appear in Star Wars Episode 8. And then the article just kind of went on talking about how that probably wasn't going to happen. Okay. And I was going to go looking for more pieces of news. And then I realized that I had just spent about 5 minutes reading something that wasn't news. But it was in a news section on a news website. Like what? So I couldn't take it anymore.
So there was no news, essentially.
There was no news.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of people saying shit and hoping that people will click on it. What's the world coming to?
I don't know.
My generation, let me tell you.
There was a little Emmy thing during the week, wasn't there?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody get to it?
Yeah. I don't want to. Will I spoil it for you? Do you guys care?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
The results are out.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a while. So, Game of Thrones broke the record for most Emmys. It won 12.
Wow. Was there any left?
12.
Yeah.
Barely any were left.
12 Emmys. So what did it get? Best use of a dire wolf in a motion picture?
It got the best writing.
Fire.
Correct. Probably that as well.
Random use of naked breasts for scenes sometimes involving sex. Nipple-tastica.
Okay. That's fine. We can do more.
Most amount of eunuchs on screen at a single time.
Okay, cool. What about imp? What about an imp award of some kind?
No.
The imp award.
The imp award, yeah.
It's much funnier when Mark says it, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So go on. Sorry. Go on.
Yeah, and John Hamm won the Best Actor award for his final season portrayal of Don Draper. He has never won an Emmy before.
Oh,
imagine the amount of years. Like, he's been nominated every time there's been a season of Mad Men. But guess what? Tony Soprano and Walter White have beaten him black and blue every single time. Like, he hadn't won one, and yet he's been nominated so much. So I'm very glad that he got it in the end.
There's a moral to that story. If you work hard,
yeah, keep trying and stay pretty.
Keep practicing, keep pretending, keep practicing your pretending, and one day you too will get an Emmy.
Nice.
And eventually the people who are better at pretending than you are will come to the end of the series. And if you're still in it, you could win then.
Actually, his acceptance speech was kind of funny. He said, are you sure there isn't some kind of mistake?
Sorry, we're out of time now, Tom.
Next year.
Any other winners of note? Who won on the red carpet? Who won in the dresses, Mike?
Oh, Jesus.
I haven't actually done enough of a review to give it justice. Maybe next week I'll come back with a segment.
You need a bit more research.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of material.
Or maybe not enough material. We'll see.
In some cases.
Yeah. Okay. let's crack on. Let's start with Minority Report. Who's going to tell us about Minority Report? I think, Sean, you should tell us about Minority Report.
Sure. Following on from the Tom Cruise film of the same name, Minority Report follows a detective in the near future, right after the pre-crime division has broken down. Pre-crime was when they used to get 3 precognitives, all siblings, to predict when murders were going to happen and stop them before they ever took place. But then when they realized that they had been haloing, which is a cool word for prison coma, when they realized that they had been haloing people who may not necessarily have even committed those murders, because of, free will and human choice and all that, the program broke down. However, there's still precogs out there having visions, and it's tough to ignore murders. So eventually one day, a guy sets out to try and do the right thing, and the story goes from there.
Yeah. I thought there'd be more reports on minorities in this, or at least have a few in it, And I was kind of pleasantly surprised that there is. Yeah. In fact, it could actually be called Diversity Report.
Yeah. Really. Mind you, in 2065, there probably won't be minorities anymore.
Oh, that's true. But, it's great to see a bit of diversity in an industry that has been, criticized for its lack of the aforementioned so intensively recently. By the way, nice uniform on Megan Good. I like the way it just kind of ties around her neck and then opens again at her cleavage. That's where the zip comes out. What the hell is that about?
Boob window. It's a boob window.
I think you'll find that in the future, all garments will eventually look somewhat like that. I'm a huge fan of the... Sorry, Steve, you finished?
No. But go on.
You bastard.
The last thing I want to say is, the precogs.
Yeah.
What I want to know is, when are they getting the band back together? That's what, he's just arsing around. He's a bit pissed off at his sister, because she's a bit of a bitch. And he's a bit pissed off at your man Arthur, because he's a bit of a mentalist.
Yeah.
But, that's got the makings of a good band, or at least a good road movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It'd be a bit of a waste of a talent, though.
What?
Like solving murders and shit. He'd be so well set up to be a paparazzi. Like, he would have had that Diana shit covered all over.
He'd have been sitting in the tunnel.
Yeah. Click, click, click.
10 minutes in advance.
Oh my God. Sean was talking about what has happened to the state of modern journalism. Where did they get a load of you two?
Anyway, sorry, Mark, you're saying, go on.
So, no, I didn't mean to interrupt you. So, I was a huge fan of the film Minority Report, not just because it has one of the greatest actors ever to grace our screens, Tom Cruise, but also because I thought it was a very just well scripted, well plotted show. I really liked it. I thought it was very clever science fiction.
Yeah.
It was also very atmospheric, the film. So there was a lot of happy-go-lucky people in Minority Report who were carrying on their lives, and there was no murders and all the rest of it. And yet, Tom Cruise's world and a lot of the places he goes through in the movie featured the dark underbelly that lived alongside this. Like, he was obviously in a very hellish place, and there were plenty of other people that he met along the way that were too. And I thought that dichotomy made it really interesting, right?
Yeah.
I think they've lost most of that in this TV show. The lighting itself in the opening scenes was really, really bright. Like, if lighting can be saccharine, then this is what it would look like.
Yeah.
Everyone is very clean cut, and it all felt a little bit less life or death than you would expect life or death to be. Whereas when Tom Cruise, now granted, he is probably a better actor than anybody else in the planet, but when Tom Cruise was trying to get to somebody as the seconds cut down, it felt visceral and you wanted him to make it, whereas it didn't really the other guy. It seemed a bit kind of messier, and just not didn't have the same gravitas, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, as a TV show, which is procedural, where every week we're going to try and predict a crime and solve it before it happens, or however they take it, that being the most obvious way, it's probably not the worst thing ever, because the actors who are in this, though not being as talented as Tom, are reasonably talented themselves. It's not badly written. It just misses a lot of what I thought was good about the source material. So not the worst thing in the world, but far, far less than what I'd hoped for.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that, actually, yeah. For sure. Because I felt it was lacking, all right. It wasn't up to the same standard of writing, as you said, as the original. But the other thing is, the scene in Minority Report, the one where he's using the virtual database thing, right? Yeah. And so Megan Good uses this sort of to reconstruct a crime scene, right? But it's not very good, is it? No. She kind of dances and prances around the place going, oh, that came from there and it went here and that went, and it was like, where is she getting this? Where's this coming from? But it was a bit
cringeworthy.
Yeah, it was a bit cringy, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Yeah. Like, it wasn't believable. It wasn't, with Tom's thing. Yeah. Now, granted, it was nothing to do with Tom, but it was, whoever did the CGI bit on it. It looked great, and it just said, and it looked like something that's functional. Whereas this was just like, you're fucking taking the piss out of me now. Yeah. So didn't like that. Bit of a negative.
Yeah. You kind of nailed that for me. It was, I always get really, really, really unhappy when I see shows trying to use technology to, make you not notice the fact that there's no real story.
Yeah.
And I think this suffers really badly from it. It's set up so obviously to be a procedural with the arc of, will the precogs get back together going through the series?
Yeah.
And struggling to give a fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, that said, I thought the actors in it were alright.
Not as good as Tom Cruise, though, obviously.
Well, obviously, yeah.
None of them can run as well as him either.
I think they're setting up one of the precogs, the twin brother precog, as an antagonist of some kind.
Yeah. He did look a little bit like Sandman to my uneducated eyes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't see that, but okay. Sean, what did you think?
My main thing is that Megan Good isn't. I thought that the guy playing Arthur, right? Arthur is the protagonist, or one of them. I thought that he did a good job. He was playing a fish out of water, like a guy who had not lived in the world, but was trying to. Like, trying really, really hard to connect with this fellow man, and expecting a bit of ridicule. He expected to be treated like he was lesser, because I think he kind of thinks that he is, especially given that he has such sibling melodrama, right? He's like the weakest of the precogs, and he's like, I know, but still.
Yeah. You're the shit one.
But he actually seems like he has a good heart, which I got all that from his performance. And that's a good job for a pilot, and him being ineffective, like Mark, you were making that comment about, is he going to make it to the thing? I think in part that was because they were trying to show that he can't do it alone. Like, he is ineffective and he's not going to be able to make it, So I don't know. I liked him. I liked following him in his journey. And then we got to him, having to partner up with the tough cop that doesn't take any nonsense. And also, she's a woman, and also she beats the shit out of people. And, we've seen that before. And I was like, okay, well, what's going to be new and fresh about it? And it wasn't really anything. She lives with her mom. Okay. There's kind of like are you guys dating? No. Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, that's fun and flirty. That's nice. Okay. But I wasn't really getting anything about her or from her that I cared about.
Right.
So that was problematic to me. That's the main thing. I thought that the world building, because they had to rebuild the world for people who hadn't seen Minority Report, the movie, and they had to try and just bring back the things that people liked,
Right.
Like Six Sticks and those cool force guns and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They did all right. They did fine, but they didn't, as Mark was saying, Minority Report is a very heavy movie about a father who lost his son, literally just lost his son, and turned to drugs trying to save other people, to try and get himself out of the hole, spending most of his time just taking illegal drugs and watching old videos of his kid because he can't get over his loss. That's fucking hard. That is tough shit to deal with. You throw in Colin Farrell being a bit of a prick, and already he's having a shit day.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, what you have is, there's a cop whose life is pretty alright. And, you know, there's some kind of flirtation with Wilmer Valderrama, who inexplicably has a role in this. And then you've got this precog guy who I'm like, okay, I know what he wants. I know what he wants at least. Is he going to be able to do it? Probably. I mean, I never really felt, okay, he's going to die. Like, I never felt like he was in danger. I never felt like, though his life seems hard, I never felt like it was anything that he wasn't like used to or able to handle.
Mm-hmm.
And then the plot that they chose to use in this bird stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand they were trying to be original, but I don't know. I think that they could have gone, at the end of the day, it's always going to be a little bit more imposing if someone has, I don't know, how about a glove that shoots lightning instead of controls a bird that has an illness. You know what I mean? It just felt like they were going way the fuck out of their way to be original with their, you know, procedural, like first episode storyline. We can do stuff other shows can't. Yeah, you can. That doesn't mean you should. You're mind controlling a bird.
Yeah.
You look like a fool. You know what I mean? So my major problems is that I just didn't care enough. And it's too bad because it does have the trappings and the makings of what could be quite a good show.
Yeah, that's true. The other thing, well, it's not really a problem, but it's just something that I noticed. This is yet another show with a female detective working with someone that isn't in the police force to solve crime.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yet another one. And I believe
that's never happened before, Steve.
and we shall see more of this next week. Little bit of a preview there. In one of the shows we're watching, actually in two of the shows we're watching next week. It happens, but in the second one, it's the genders are reversed. But still, there seems to be
Limitless and Blind Spot.
Yes, Limitless and Blind Spot. But this seems to be a trend. Didn't we see this several times before we were talking about it? Like Elementary and
the Mentalist and also Psych.
Yeah,
and Lucifer.
Lucifer, exactly. Yeah, there's another new one. Yeah. So I don't know how many more. I don't know. Is it's sort of a combination that they're getting good numbers with, or
it's 4 shows this season.
Yeah.
4 shows this season, just by itself. If we include Lucifer, Limitless, Blind Spot, and this, I understand why they like it, right? Because they want to have tension between cops, and they already have enough shows that are just all cops. So then they're like, okay, well, we need specialists. Who can we have that has a cool, special way of solving crimes that makes our procedural different? Well, how about someone outside the police force with special talent? We'll figure out some other fucking stuff.
And then we have
Numbers does the same thing.
And then if that shit, they always have the fallback of a love story, you know.
There you go. There you go.
You know?
Bones, that's another one.
Yeah.
I don't, maybe just throwing it out there. This was like the 2015 senior project at all the movie schools in America. So they just rehashed their fucking.
The theme this year is. Yeah. So, in summation, I get the feeling we didn't think this was very good. I get the feeling that we're quite disappointed in this. But is it due to the movie being so good? Were we expecting too much, or was it just kind of bland?
Yeah. Well, do you know, I won't entirely shit on it.
This is the thing.
Because, when it started out with the reconstruction of the crime scene, I was like, oh God, just make it stop. But then, as the show wore on, I started to kind of like the characters a little bit. I couldn't understand why.
Right.
I was starting to doubt myself.
It's an emotion, Mike.
Is that what they call it? Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not going to rave about this.
No, I'm not going to rave about it, but you know what? I am going to watch another one.
Are you?
Yeah. Because, you know, I do want to see where it goes, and I do want to see if the pilot was just oops. You know, because it, as we know from the movie, it does have potential in storylines, even if they did one that was similar. You know,
I did like their guns too.
Yeah,
they were kind of chunky.
Yeah. Chunky guns.
Future gun. Future bullets.
So, I guess on the back of me saying that I'll watch another, that's our rule. It's a thriller. But it's not a thriller of a
An
pilot.
unexpected thriller.
Yeah. Mark.
Mark.
You look like you got something to say.
Well, like, it's just that I really wanted to like this because and this is of course part of the hook. This is why shows like this get the green light, is because Minority Report was a good film, critically acclaimed and really easy to watch again and again. So you think, okay, well maybe this is going to be more Minority Report, but fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And it just wasn't, like I know there's a harsh translation between the big screen and the small at times, but I think this just fell badly short for me. It's thriller for me anyway. I'm not going to watch anymore, and I'm very surprised to hear myself saying that. I wouldn't have thought that going in.
Yeah. Mike.
I'm occupying the Wrigley position today of being on the fence.
The Wrigley position is a great phrase.
The Wrigley position, you bollocks.
Wrigley.
Yeah, like I didn't totally hate it, but I'm probably not going to watch another one. So I'll fillerize this.
Okay. Sean.
Minority Report laid out the future as a dark place, and that's what everyone expects. That's what everyone expects from the show because of Minority Report, and also just because of how people feel about the world moving forward. That's where our sci-fi is right now. Mm-hmm. This needs to go dark or go home, and it didn't in the pilot, so it's filler from me.
Okay. Right. Split camp. Ish. Okay.
That'd make you the minority, Steve.
No, Mark's with me.
Oh my God.
Mark's with me.
Where is my Minority Report?
Okay, the next one we looked at is The Bastard Executioner. Mark.
The Bastard Executioner. I'm not 100% sure what this is about. It's set in days of yore.
Circa yore.
Yeah, in Wales, back when swords were the accepted form of killing people. And there's a guy who's really good with swords and fighting and stuff, and there is a backdrop of political intrigue because the evil English, and I say that obviously only from the context of this TV show, are trying to put down the valiant Welsh, again only from the context of this TV show. I'm sure both nations are equally fair and just. So our sword fighter man, who I'm guessing might be the Bastard Executioner, who really knows what this show is about. But anyway, he's like, because he's so good with a sword, the villagers need him to help with the fighting. And he has a family also, and his wife is pregnant, and that's what I took from this TV show.
Mike, let's start with you. What did you think of The Bastard Executioner?
First things first. There was a little
dirt.
There was a little I'm Scarlet for you moment.
Right.
On the opening credits.
Okay.
They're talking about the 1300s in the Welsh marshlands.
Yeah.
There aren't an awful lot of marshes in Wales, but what there are marches. And I thought, oh
this
dear,
is so
dear.
true. It's so true. It's so true. I noticed that as well.
Yeah, I can't believe that got past the editing team, but fuck it. The show itself, I did like, the liberal application of swords and random sex acts.
Yeah, that's right up your street.
Yeah. I mean, Game of Thrones can do it. Why the fuck can't anybody else?
Yeah.
It's where things are going. Shut up. My problem with it was that they spent quite a lot of time building up characters that ultimately proved to be futile.
Yeah.
So
Come on, Mike, explain yourself.
Okay. In Game of Thrones,
yeah,
you get all hooked into Ned Stark.
Yeah.
And then he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And we're all like, oh!
Yeah.
It's like they kind of try and start doing that. They set up big characters. And you think, okay, I know where this guy's going to be in episode 8 or season 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then He's not there anymore. But he's not there long enough for you to give a fuck about him.
Yeah.
So they just wasted 15 minutes of backstory, essentially. And then it's like, okay.
Yeah, you're right.
And then...
And it made the episode... Did you think it was a really, really long... Really long...
Yeah, it
pilot,
did feel...
It was
long.
an hour and a half.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
It was movie length.
It didn't need to be like that. You know, you could be clipping along, having stuff happening all the time.
Yeah.
And to be fair to it, there is stuff happening all the time, but a lot of it ends up being, you know, irrelevant.
Yeah.
So there was a lack of balance, I think, in how they were bringing characters to the screen.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
No? I was just wondering if anybody's going to disagree with me. No,
No, I'm not going to disagree with you there.
Jesus
no.
Christ.
Oh, you're dead right.
What the hell? I was waiting for an assault.
Did it strike you as being good or not that great?
Insightful questioning.
Yeah.
Steve
Yeah.
Brickley.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not trying to push an agenda here or anything, but...
Yeah. You see, I wanted it to be good. And there are a lot of things that I do like about it. Was I right in thinking that's the vampire dude
Bill
from
Compton.
True Blood? Yeah.
Vampire Bill.
I do like Vampire Bill a whole lot.
Mhm.
And I think he could rescue this series from the structural problems it has.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the guy that he's hanging around with, I can't remember any names from this.
Lord
But
Ventress.
the guy that's with him with the funny cap,
Yeah, that's Lord Ventress.
that's the bad guy from The Last Ship this season,
Okay.
which is a weird juxtaposition of old TV shows.
What was the other... Oh, yeah. So, I have a bit of a negative. I'm not so sure that you will agree with me on this, but did you think it was unnecessarily violent?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
No.
I
I thought if anything they should have maybe gone further down that route.
Well, maybe not unnecessarily, maybe unnecessarily graphic. Because I knew there's more sort of, oh, Jesus moments than there were, oh, this is interesting, maybe I'll watch more moments, you know, within the first, you know, 3/4 of an hour. There's some stuff in it. It's just there's absolutely no need for that. You know, at least in Game of Thrones you can see it, okay, it's in context, you know, they're the times they're trying to show us and so on, and now we know, you know, even, you know, Braveheart, granted it isn't graphic really, you know. No, it's not actually, but they imply a lot and it works.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it was just like, oh God, did they, look, we know what he does, you know, we don't really need to see him doing this, you know. I just thought it was really OTT. And it's not that it was stomach churning, it was just like, Jesus. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I thought I'm here to be entertained, but oh God.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, that was a big point. The other thing was, dialogue wasn't great. Story was a bit crap.
Yeah.
You know,
What was the story?
yeah, that's the thing. It was a bit of a Robin Hood and his Merry Men kind of a story.
And then it wasn't.
And then it wasn't. Yeah, exactly. And they did the whole, what we need to get into the castle thing, you know. And we've seen that many times before, and there wasn't much difference in this. And there was one sort of dramatic scene where is this your husband? That scene, I was just like, Jesus. You know, if you've ever seen anyone lie before, you know, it was pretty obvious, you know, what was going on here. So anyway, I just thought it was a little bit shit, actually.
A little bit.
Yeah, I'm actually 100% on your side here, Steve. I was watching it, like, my lizard brain, maybe?
Right.
was going, nah, this is shit. And the rest of my brain was, dude, hang on. It's been on for 10 minutes. Give it a second.
Yeah.
But slowly my whatever isn't your lizard brain, I don't know, your mammal brain? I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever is the other part that does the thinking was going, you know what, lizardy is right. But I'm just not sure why yet. And it took me a while, and I said, just look at this now, right? Why is this a good or a bad show? And then the first thing I noticed when I thought that was, you know, in some action films, the way they shake the camera so it feels like you're in the fight.
Yeah.
they were doing that for no reason. They were doing it when somebody arrived on a horse. And I was going, why are you doing that? It's hard enough when there's fighting happening. Like, but at least then you can go, sure, you're probably getting a slap there. Sure. Your point of view will be changing unexpectedly. Fuck me in a horse. Like, it was the equivalent of a Rolls Royce at the time. You know, it shouldn't have been jarring your point of view. And the lead character is just weak. Like the main guy. I don't know if he's the bastard executioner or who he's meant to be. But he's not strong enough. And like, then you have Bill Compton lands on screen. And you go, I fucking know that guy. But he's such a good actor. I can't remember what I know him from because he's a completely different person in this. Then after 10 minutes you go, that's fucking Vampire Bill. And I do agree they should probably just make it all about him. Like, his character doesn't really have a story, but it doesn't matter. He'll make something up. And atmospherically as well, like, they were doing this whole scene of showing the impact that going away fighting with a sword can have on your family. And it just wasn't hitting home because, like, there's only so many times you can see a husband kiss his wife and say good luck and see her worried face before you become immune to worried faces.
And even before that, they did look how happy we are. Oh, look our lives. Look where the future is going to lead. And
I thought that was really touching.
And when they run out of the house, you see people like chopping wood and baking bread and like hanging out washing, you know, things that people do in small little villages, you know.
It actually hit a lot of the same story beats that Braveheart did in the early going.
Right.
And I don't think that's any accident.
Yeah.
Given the setting in the days of yore, which is when Braveheart was set as well. I noticed that they also mentioned the Longshanks, who was obviously the chief villain in Braveheart. So they obviously were there going, right, we want you to think about Braveheart.
But he's Welsh.
But he's Welsh. And then they introduced the character and you go, Jesus, Mel Gibson would be far better in this than that lad. And he's not doing anything at the minute. So a bit disappointing for me, Steve, I think. I agree with my lizard brain.
Sean.
So what I'm wondering is he an executioner who was born out of wedlock, or is he someone who kills bastards?
Good question.
So this show, right, seems to set up to a character story and then just a story. So the character story is, look at me, I'm great at fighting for the English. I fucking love killing people. Look how many people I just killed at the beginning of this. There's guts fucking everywhere. I've got 2 swords. You've got 1 sword. So I'm fucking better than you. And then it's like, oh, he's seeing a vision. That's an interesting hair and skin tone combination. That must be an angel. And then she's like, you need to be a different man, another man. And it's like, oh, okay, so don't pick up the swords again. The gunslinger is going to hang up his guns. I wonder if he's going to like have a family life that's really secure until at some point someone knocks on his door or something happens where he has to go off back out into the wild and, you know, take care of the bad guy. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on now. He's not supposed to be doing that now. No swords. Come on, something awful shocking would have to happen for him to pick up a sword. Oh no, he's gonna pick up a sword now. I cared more after 20 minutes of the Fellowship of the Ring about everyone in the Shire. Not just the 4 or 5 fucking lads that we saw hanging out and that tall yoke with the beard. Not just them. I cared more about everybody in the Shire than I think I did about the complete group of this village, you know? So I don't know. I understand what they were trying to get across, right? They wanted to hit you with action right from the get-go, so you'd be promised that. They could have some time to set up some character and then go, right, what are the obstacles? Well, storyline. There are rebels who are fighting against shitty lords who are charging too much taxes. I wonder, can we involve our character drama in this plot line? Maybe give them a band of men, perhaps not merry men at all, perhaps men who are wounded by life and scarred. You know, so it seemed like, you know, it was almost rote, you know?
So, can I stop you there for a sec, Sean?
For sure.
Are you telling us then that the main problem with this show is that the characters are too tall?
No, that's not quite. Not enough fireworks is what I'm saying. No, here, what I'm saying is the only actual unique minutiae are involved in the villains. the actual specifics of their lives are far more intricate and unique than the good guys.
Mm-hmm.
For example, there's the first time when we see this Pendris or Ventris or whatever his name is with the funny hat. First time we see him, right? He's riding someone half his age, which back in those days made a lot of sense. And he has this great line where you're like, he's fucking terrible. I'm going to love hating him for a really long time. He has this line where she turns around and like when they're finished, like he's like, no, make sure like there's no wasted seed, or else he says it is wasted seed. Point is, she turns around and she goes, God will give us a son when it's time. And then he says something along the lines of, then let God push noble seed in a barren cave. Like, he says something as vicious as you could possibly say, and he starts walking towards the door, and he pauses, and you can see that he's making the decision. He feels a little bit bad about that. Is he going to turn around and, like, make it better, or, like, is he going to explain himself? Is he going to apologize, or, like, what's going to happen? And then he doesn't, because whatever it is that it's inside him won't let him do that. Like, he can't bow. He's not built for it. That's way more interesting. And then you add fucking Vampire Bill, you know, without having to deal with Sookie. And it's already, you know what I mean? Like there's so much intrigue going along there. And Bill and his brother are just like, oh, half my blood, quarter of the brains. Ha 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 ha. Like, you know what I mean? And there's a point where one of them says to the other, rid our collector of his moral issue. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking murder him. Fucking, like, that's really interesting. I think I would rather see these really, really shitty people go try and get one over on each other than go have a bunch of really boring Superman, Cyclops, cardboard cutouts going, we have the moral right, so we shall win the day with our superior swords, as in literally number of swords. We have more of them. I have 2. You have 1. I'm better.
Yeah.
And then I realized that's what Game of Thrones is. It's really shitty people who are really interesting and unique being shitty to each other with very brief moments of light in the darkness that you know are going to be at some point ripped away from us. And that's why Game of Thrones is a really great show, and why The Bastard Executioner is a show I don't fucking care about.
Interesting perspective.
It's probably worth pointing out to Mark that the Welsh lost in the end. He probably wasn't aware of that.
It's because he doesn't read the papers.
That's right, yeah.
You're such a spoiling bastard.
I know.
Well, I know from the look on your face you're not going to watch the rest of the show. So might as well bring you up to speed on what happened.
I don't care who executes the bastard. I'll not be watching any more of it.
So that's filler from Mark. Sean.
Yeah, filler. There's a lot of Catholicism in it. That doesn't really make sense to me yet.
Yeah.
That's just the last thing. That's another thing I'm not really going to give a shit about.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was just a bit shit, so it's filler from me. So,
you know, I'm going to roll the dice on Vampire Bill.
You're not.
I am. I think he can rescue this. There's enough hacking, slaying, and riding, and then Bill to give the interest. This could be just about watchable in the end.
Really?
Yeah. So I'll give it one more chance.
So it's a trailer from you.
Yeah.
Wow.
There we go.
Right.
It was the jokes. It was the jokes about sheep shagging that got him. He literally went, wait, Wales. What do I know about Wales?
You're going to have to come back to us.
I will.
How you get on.
I will. I'll give you another.
I have an announcement to make.
Mm-hmm.
I've officially given up on Z Nation.
What?
Yeah.
Big news indeed.
Yeah. Exclusive. Is it a bicycle this
week?
Yeah.
And was this the therapy or the medication? Or?
Yeah, it was a bit of both. I gave it a good run. I had a good run with it, you know. It did its job, and I feel I need to move on.
Yeah.
And
was there a specific moment where you just sat down and said, you know what, fuck this shit?
Yeah, I think it was after I watched episode 1 of season 2. I just went, I kind of see where this is going. I don't want to watch anymore. Right. Because they all should be dead. They should all be dead and buried by now. Or at least dead and lying out around in the land, rotting, in radiation.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the big...
Do you mean the dead should be dead or the living should be dead?
Don't complicate things. So so I'm moving on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hopefully I won't have a relapse, but
You think there's anything on the horizon that could fill that void in your life?
Fill the void. It's kind of a shitty show that no one else watches that I kind of have a dirty little secret about watching. No, not really.
The Flash is coming back.
What is?
The Flash is coming back.
No,
Season 2 is about to start.
It's not dirty enough.
Agent Carter?
Oh, is that coming back?
Yep, it's going to have a season 2 at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
there you go.
that could be the one.
Yeah, you're welcome, Steve.
I don't think it's shit enough, though. You know, that's quite good.
It is pretty shit, though.
Fuck you, Mike.
I'll find one. Anyway. Yeah. Okay, next up we've our movie, which is Everest. Synopsis: bunch of dudes and a girl climb Everest, and stuff happens. They get in trouble.
Yeah. Just for Mark's benefit, can you let us know what is Everest?
Oh,
The most ever is when it's the Everest.
Hold on just a minute. No, I'm not saying I'm Mr. Current Affairs. But I know the name of Everest. Anyway, continue with your review and your mockery of me.
So this is Mr. Gyllenhaal in it, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. And
Gyllenhaal even.
Gyllenhaal, yeah.
I think he's quite sensitive about that.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
He gets really, really angry.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Gyllenhaal. So this is written by William Nicholson and stars Jason Clarke, Anne Fula Sherpa. What a great name for this movie. Who else is in this? Thomas M. Wright, Martin Henderson, Tom Goodman Hill,
Keira Knightley.
A lot of other people. Oh yeah, she appears as well.
Robin Wright.
Oh yeah, Robin Wright's in it. Yeah. Got a little bit of Robin Wright.
Just a little bit.
So they go to climb a mountain, and some of them are, most of them are pretty experienced, and some of them are a bit maverick, some of them are very careful. There's a lot of setup. There's a good hour of setup. Now, granted, getting to base camp isn't the matter of jumping on the bus. So they show us with great detail what it takes to get there, which is interesting. If you're interested in that and haven't seen it a million times before. So it might have appealed to you, Mark. Had you not seen this before, this kind of thing? And then they start to climb up and a weather front comes in. Yeah.
That's bad news, isn't it, Steve?
It is. On the side of the world's largest mountain, it's very bad news.
Things could maybe go wrong.
Things could go wrong.
If that happened.
Especially if your ropes aren't set, Mike.
Jesus. Wasn't somebody supposed to set the ropes?
And your oxygen tanks are empty. That's always. This is based on a true story.
Didn't Johnny leave oxygen tanks up there?
No, he didn't. No, he bastard left empty ones. They were lighter. They were lighter. So, what do you think of this, Mike?
Steve, I was shocked.
Right.
I was shocked and appalled.
Oh God, I can't believe. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, it's all over. Just shut it all down. Pull the switch. Shut it all down. I'm going home.
And where's this mountain range? What's the name of it?
Well, I was first there in the 50s with Hillary in the Himalayas. Things were much tougher back then, of course. Nowadays one can't get decent Sherpas, you know.
Very good, very good.
Where to start with this movie?
Yeah.
This fucking movie.
Base camp, yeah, that's good.
No, we're not going to start with base camp.
You start in the US for this one.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, no, sorry, it's New Zealand, sorry.
New Zealand, he's the home of the fucked up Wales. Right. We're going to begin at the beginning. We're going to have this guy that we may or may not have heard of, depending on how closely you pay attention to disasters.
Yeah.
And he's got a wife. And she's a very pretty wife. and her major job in this movie is to be pregnant and worried about him.
Ah, she's pregnant.
She's pregnant. And, that's a tough role to take on, And I'd say Keira Knightley, she spent months in preparation for it, It's like, oh, what if you don't come back?
About 8.5 months, I think.
So, you have all these characters.
Mm-hmm.
Problem number one, there's way too many fucking characters.
Well, a shitload of them went up there.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you didn't have to focus on all of them. So as a result, you end up not caring about any of them.
Well, this is true. I got lost with names.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who's her man? Why does I care about him?
Yeah.
They lost who?
Yeah. And this is especially a problem in an environment where everybody has to be dressed up in fucking parkas and hoodies and face masks and glasses. So you see somebody vaguely hanging off a rope somewhere, like, oh my god, I'm really worried about that person who I have no idea who it is.
Did you notice that they're color coded as well?
Yeah.
Did you notice that? Well, some of them were,
Yeah. And that's a huge problem in the movie. If
Yeah.
you don't know who you're looking at.
Yeah.
And even if you did know, you really haven't had enough introduction to them to care.
Mm.
Like you've Josh Brolin is there. He's a good actor.
He was a standout
Yeah.
actor in this.
Yeah,
Actually.
he's good at that kind of thing.
He's a darn good Texan. He plays a good Texan. Yeah.
But he's just lost in the story. Because they try and put so many threads together of what's going on, and the threads just get lost.
Yeah.
There's a little sub-story about a journalist who's going up with them.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But then they decide to throw in another journalist who's climbing with another party. And they focus on Pate. And they focus on her for a little while, and you see her getting really near to the top.
Yeah.
And then they just sort of forget about her.
Yeah.
It's like, did she make it? I don't know.
I have no idea.
It's a joke, like, and then,
hang on. Was she one of the people who wrote the books?
Possibly.
Oh, I wonder, was she?
Maybe.
How many books are in this?
Oh, there's 3 or 4 of them, yeah.
3 or 4?
Yeah.
Different accounts.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And then you have Jake Gyllenhaal. Who's...
Gyllenhaal, Mike.
Okay. Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
He's apparently some surfer dude who got lost looking for the ocean.
Yeah.
Ended up on the side of Everest.
Mm.
And, he's appears in the movie, disappears, appears in the movie, disappears.
Well,
might be a little bit important for a while, then no.
Well,
sorry, no.
I agree with you. In the context, we're just watching a movie, and we didn't know the background.
Yeah.
But the background, his story,
yeah,
is one of the most crazy stories.
Yeah.
I think from this, that whole expedition.
Yeah.
I think it was worth him being there, and the fact that he's not covered, he's gone, as you say, he's gone, he comes back and so on. But that's kind of the way the report went.
Yeah.
Because he was lost and then found, and then he was lost and so on.
Yeah.
And it was just mental that.
but okay, so his story, I appreciate, is very interesting if you've gone and read the books and stuff.
Yeah.
But the way they've presented it on screen is totally disjointed. So you don't get enough time to start to care for him.
Yeah. You go, where's Josh gone?
Yeah.
What's Josh doing?
Yeah.
It's all very well and good, these guys, arsing about up or top. What about Josh?
That's right.
Blind Josh.
Yeah. And then you have another guy, who, according to the movie, was up on a different slope at the time and saw this happening through his binoculars or whatever.
Yeah.
He says, Jesus, I better go and help out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, here's an opportunity for something heroic to happen.
Yeah.
And then he gets to base camp, and he looks up the mountain, and he says, Joe, fuck this shit, send some Sherpas up. I'll stay on the radio.
That's right. He was like, I really should go up there, and he was like really concerned. He was like, no, you can't go up, you're way too exhausted after being up another.
Have a cup of tea, love. Get something warm into you.
It's like, dudes go, we need oxygen. It's like, no, come on, man, you can come down yourself, come on. That was a bit disjointed, actually. Yeah.
And then you have, what do you call it? like there's all this stuff about, obsession with safety and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then there's a scene which I suppose we'll never know the truth of what happened.
Yeah.
But basically, they put in a time device to build tension in the movie or whatever. We've only got X hours to do this, that, and whatever.
Turnarounds at 2.
And then it gets to the cutoff time, and it's like, should be grand. Fuck it, might as well have a lash.
No, I really, really, really want to get to the top. No, you missed it, man. No. I really, really, really. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that was well, there are decisions that were made on it, and they can't really adjust it for fiction.
Well, the thing is, we don't know, because there was only 2 of them there.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah.
All we know is they were late.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do know that he was heading back down. And
that conversation has not been preserved for posterity.
Yes. But granted, there are shitloads of holes in the storytelling, but the actual movie making, not an easy feat. And it did give me a better sense of scale of the Himalayas than I had previously. I'd say. I knew it was pretty big, and I'd seen pictures of it, and I went, oh yeah, that's impressive. Yeah. But then when you see them trekking up along and it pans out, and you go, holy shit.
Yeah, there are some nice scenes actually, where you see.
That is one big ass mountain.
You see some high bits, and then it pans around to another high bit, and then it's like, whoa, up.
It's like, today we're going to go 600 meters vertically, and you thought, it should have been nearly there.
Yeah.
And then they show how far they've gone, and how far they have to go, and you go, oh my, you just realize, okay, now I realize, the true scale of the effort involved and why it's so difficult to get there. Never mind, leaving the last camp, you're already in the dead zone where your body literally starts dying. How much crack is this going to be? And it's just mental. To get and to reach the top from the last camp, they leave at 12 midnight. To reach there by 2 p.m. The following day.
Yeah.
Start coming back down again. That's just mental.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
14 hours of climbing from the last camp.
Yeah.
God.
Wow.
Why?
I don't know. Actually, I'm glad you said that, because that for me is the weakest scene in the movie.
Which bit?
Is when all the climbers get together, before sort of the main ascent. And there's a conversation about why do you do this?
Yeah. Oh yeah, there was, yeah.
And, they picked 2 stories and it was just so bad.
Well, one was, okay, I understand. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah. But the other one was just like, 'cause I can.
Yeah. Stop it.
Yeah, it's
just
there.
Stop.
Yeah, 'cause I can. Yeah.
Doing it for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really, really hard to have sympathy for people who have enough money to spend more than most people make in a year on one of these trips.
Yeah.
And, deliberately put themselves into a place where there's pretty good odds of being killed.
Yeah.
It's not like, you're, I don't know, doing it for your country or something. They're doing it for the crack.
Yeah.
So, if I want to go out and play with traffic or whatever, people aren't going to feel too sorry for me if I get pasted,
This is, it's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. How did you feel this, when it finished? How did you feel about it? As opposed to now, having had to think about
it? Relieved, really, that it was over. Yeah.
Right.
I just thought it was such a bad movie.
Really?
Yeah.
That bad?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
The cinematography was good.
Yeah.
I will grant it that.
Yeah.
But apart from that, the story was just awful.
Yeah.
The way they put it together. The
construction of it.
The construction of it. And I think it probably didn't do justice to the people involved.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you'd read the books, which I don't know if you've read one or two of them yourself.
I've read one of them, yeah.
If you're coming to it with that background, it's probably a different experience because you can mentally fill in the blanks.
I was just going to say, I've sort of filled in the blanks and I kind of knew what was coming up and I knew what other stuff that had happened that they didn't mention. And it wasn't too much that they didn't cover, but this is true. Yeah. So maybe I enjoyed it a bit more because of that.
Yeah.
I think I've read 2 of the books, actually.
Actually, in this politically correct age that we live in, did you find the treatment of the Sherpas was a bit unusual?
Well,
in that they're just there, like.
Well, yeah, you see, these guys they're climbing alongside, but it's not a big deal, because they live there and that's their job.
Yeah.
That's they have a season, they'll get a job. Remember they went on strike, didn't they, recently? Yeah, I think they did, yeah.
Right.
But I mean,
they have a union?
something like that. But I mean, they'll go up once or twice and that's it for the year, and they feed their families and grand, you know. And it's, apparently easier due to their physical makeup from being born and living in such high altitudes.
But I would have expected they'd have made some effort to at least let us remember one of them's name.
Yes, it's a bit very much they are the help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like we had in Rhodesia. So, they barely get a look in, only that they're there and they were supposed to do such and such a thing, or they're sent out into the most mortal of danger.
Yeah.
To do stuff, you know. Yeah. So you're right. Yeah. Okay, do you want to mark it?
Okay. I think this is the worst movie I've seen this year.
Oh wow.
By a country mile.
Wow.
I'm going to give it a honking 1.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
That bad?
Oh, not as good as or better than Never Back Down.
They'd be on the same shelf, would they?
Yeah. The same bin bag.
I'm going to give this a 5. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, it's pretty average. I didn't find it offensive, but I thought it was quite interesting in places. The story itself, of course, is tragic. We don't get a great sense of tragedy though from it. No. Even though it's very tragic, but we don't get that massive, overwhelming feeling of balls.
No, there was a total lack of
it's
emotion
empathy.
in it.
It's just sort of like, well.
Yeah. Oh, that guy died, but I can't see under his hood, so I don't know who he is. You know?
No, it's just like, we lost him, or he's gone. You know, so what? So anyway, I give it a 5. You know, it's going to be a Sunday matinee kind of thing. Yeah. I wouldn't even get on DVD.
Yeah. I think it's just released in the States this Friday, actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It did okay in the overseas territories.
Yeah.
But they spent $50 or $60 million on this. So they need to win big at the cinemas this weekend.
50 or 60, will they do it? Yeah, they'll probably do it.
Yeah.
You know?
I think they made 7 or 8 overseas already.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So they might just break even.
Plus 50 or 60 in marketing, if I remember.
Oh, yeah, I didn't count that. Yeah. Oh, Jesus, these guys might be in trouble.
It'll sell a bomb in Nepal and China. So Japan as well. They're big into their hill climbing there. So,
yeah.
Okay. So next up, we'll have some previews and Come to a Bicycle near you. So, the first one is Heist, with Robert De Niro, Dave Bautista. Thank you. Jesus. Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And it's about a dude who wants to pay for his daughter's medical treatment, and as a last resort, he decides to rob a casino with some other dude. And then
it's always a good idea.
Yeah. And so when they get in big trouble and start running, they decide to hijack a bus. And it turns out to be a bit of a speed movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Sandra Bullock in this?
So Jeffrey Dean Morgan has lost weight.
Indeed.
He's a lot leaner looking.
Oh,
he's obviously built for cornering now.
Sean, your buddy Morris Chestnut is also in this.
I like Morris Chestnut.
Yeah.
His eyes, you can get lost in them. I bet this movie's going to be good.
Okay.
I would actually agree with you, Sean. I think it is going to be good.
It's like
in this trailer, I counted 7 people being thrown off a bus. It cannot be a bad thing. That is a higher bus to ground count than even Speed, which you've already mentioned.
Very good. Yeah, Sean, is this something that's going to get you out and watching it?
I mean, based on what I know about the plot, everything's going to go very badly during this movie, which will be very entertaining to watch. So I'm up for it. I'll put my whatever amount of dollars down to watch this movie.
I don't know, Steve. It looks a bit fucking capery.
It does look very capery, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Jesus.
Another heist movies. They're great. The tension.
Nobody's
The
even driving a Mini, like, you know.
Ah, they're driving a bus, man.
Yeah.
Did you not get that? I said that. They're driving a bus. Yeah.
Okay. Point taken.
They do drive a bus
You
in
did
that
say
mini
that.
movie as well. You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They put minis on the bus.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, that's a way better thing to do.
Okay, I think we all agree we're all going to watch this. Great. Next one we looked at is The Big Short, which is the new Steve Carell movie. And there's a few other people in it. Karen Gillan, Ryan Gosling, Selena Gomez, of course. Marissa Tomei is in this.
A lot of people in it.
Wow.
Christian Bale and Brad Pitt are in it as well.
Talking about the crash, the Wall Street bank's property crash that I'm vaguely aware of.
This is the global economic meltdown. Yes.
Like I said, vaguely aware. But I'm aware enough to know that I've seen a couple of films about this already, and this seems to be telling the same story, only it's going to be sadder for some reason. This one seems like it would make us cry, possibly because it was written by the same guy as wrote Moneyball.
Yes.
So presumably Brad Pitt will be listening to the global economic crash from outside the stadium on his radio.
I'm expecting some good dialogue in this because Moneyball had that.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Aaron
that's
Sorkin,
what they were
right?
going for. I get it now.
Yeah. So, we all know the story of this, but in the trailer they showed that Steve Carell is like, it's a bubble. Yeah. It's going to burst. And they're like, that's fucking not. It's great. Like we did here in Ireland, I'm looking forward to this. It looks good. Good cast. Trailer did a good job.
Yeah, I love all these financial movies. They're cool.
Yeah. One of my favorites is that one with Jeremy Irons.
And Zachary Quinto.
Yeah.
And Kevin Spacey.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was the one.
Which was called
Margin
Call.
Report.
Yeah.
Margin Call.
That was a great movie.
Yeah.
So if this is even half the movie Margin Call was,
if this is half the movie the Margin Call was.
Knowing full well.
Look at you there now. Had to be the big man. Yeah.
Double down.
And the last one we looked at was Benders.
Bender.
So this is what's his name? Stand-up comedian Dennis Leary. Used to be a stand-up comedian. So this is Dennis Leary's new show, and it follows a team of friends bonded by an irrational obsession with their men's hockey team. And so it looks like a bit of The Hangover, but it's every day for them. Yeah.
So that's it, right? So that was a really strong trailer because it made me think of all these comedy films, but it's a TV show.
Yes.
So straight away it had me thinking, this is probably really good.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that doesn't mean that they distilled this trailer out of like 20 odd episodes.
Yes.
And it's like enough jokes for 90 minutes spread throughout 4,000 minutes or however many 22 by 42 turns into, which I think is 10,400.
So this starts on the 1st of October. This is definitely one for the list. And I thought Mike would particularly like this one. Concerning the sport.
Yes, indeed. And the obviously juvenile
humor and
ticks all the boxes.
Lots of jokes about boobs and stuff like that. Yeah.
I can't wait for this.
Yeah. what do you call it? He's got Dennis Leary's a great record, I think, for humor and shows such as this. Yeah. So, John, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, Rescue Me is one of those shows it's circled throughout my periphery for so long that whenever it would come on, I would never be able to commit myself to go watch all of it. Yeah. But it's funny. Like, I've seen bits of it. It's a funny show. Dennis Leary's a funny fucking guy.
He is, yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited about this, actually. I'm pretty excited. Okay, so, yeah, that's it for this week.
Whoa.
So,
Done and dusted.
Yeah, so tweet us at isitabicycle. You can email us at podcast@isitabicycle.com. And keep an eye out on the web awards.ie. Could you imagine if we got into the finals? Sorry if there's any judges listening. We were expecting to get into the finals because we're such a serious podcast.
Is it at the RDS? Seriously?
It's in the RDS, yeah.
No fucking way.
I don't know if it's
We're not going to get past security now.
Jeez, you'd hardly get east of the Shannon, would you?
Not willingly. Unless it was in the back of a cattle truck.
Right. We'll leave it there for
I hear the big fields in Meath.
So from Mike, Mark, Steve and Sean, stay classy.